Assalamualaikum, Warahmatullahi, Wabarakatuh. Welcome back to the Melanated Muslimah podcast. It is me, your favorite reaver and host, Brittany Khadija. It has been so long since I posted or uploaded, that's the better word, uploaded a podcast episode. And the reason before that, the reason why I haven't uploaded a podcast episode, I'm just going to address the inconsistency, is that since December of 2023, I have been sick on and off. And like most of last year, I've been like getting testing to figure out what's the direct cause and going through all of that. And it's just been like a lot of like stress for me. So I wasn't in my right state of mind to do podcast episodes. It just felt like another task on top of the other tasks that I have to do, plus trying to figure out why I'm sick, plus dealing with personal stuff and things like that. It was just a lot for me. And unfortunately, my podcast got put on the back burner. But inshallah, and by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'll be back and stuff like that. I'm currently under the weather right now. But I said, you know what? I am in the space right now where I'm like, even if I'm sick, I'm not gonna let this stop me. I'm still gonna push through and come out with podcast episodes because this is something that genuinely makes me happy, and this is why I am here. So being sick on and off, of course, is a lot to deal with, but I say Allahu Alam. I look at it in a positive way. So one thing that is, when I'm at all my doctor's appointments, when my doctors listen to me, Alhamdulillah, because I am a black woman in America, in the American medical system that does not have a good history and a good rap of believing black people, and especially black women, when they say that they are facing different health problems. But I have doctors who went above and beyond to try and help me. So alhamdulillah for that. And the next thing that I always say alhamdulillah for is for me having health insurance. There's so many people who have sicknesses and stuff that are dealing with things that are way more extreme than me, and they don't have health insurance. And I can only imagine what the medical bills are for them. So alhamdulillah that I have health insurance. The third thing that I always say alhamdulillah for is alhamdulillah that I have money for my co-pays. Like, there's people who have health insurance but don't even have the money to pay the co-pays for their medical appointments. And alhamdulillah for that, and all I can do is give praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So just recently, I have been sharing like a little bit that like, oh, I've been sick on and off for a year, because a lot of people didn't know until like I told them, because I didn't want to make me being sick on and off my identity. I didn't want people to see me and be like, oh, is this still bothering you? Yes, it's nice for people to like check up on you and stuff like that, but I just didn't want them to like constantly ask me about it, and like when they see me, they're like, oh, is this bothering you? Is this why you're doing this? Like, I didn't want any of that. And also, I hope that this is not making you think I have like something terminal or something like that. I do not have anything terminal. It's not something that I would consider to be extremely serious. It's just something that is annoying. Like, I would say it's like annoying, and it's just like, it makes you irritated when it happens. So that's what like I want to say, but I don't want y'all to think that I have something terminal. Please, I don't. And do not be worried about me for those who are listening. I'm fine, subhanAllah. But I was talking about it with one of the sisters at the masjid, and she said something like, because I saw her how I look at it like as something like, I alhamdulillah for having doctors who listen to me, and like the whole spill that I just gave. And she goes, that's such a beautiful way to look at it, because who knows what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is protecting you from by making you sick. Now, I know that may be like shocking to some people, but she then said, because who knows, if you were sick, you could have been doing things that are haram or moving away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you were healthy, and like you could have been somewhere completely different than where you are now, and look at how much you're trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now. And that is such a beautiful way to look at it. So when we have setbacks, think about like, if this setback is making you run towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's a setback that you are blessed with, because you are in the midst of adversity, in the midst of all the like chaos around you. You are still turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and still looking to him for guidance. So is it really such a bad thing that you're taking this problem to him? Because if you didn't have this problem, would you be bringing stuff to him? Like, you don't know. So that is how she explained it, and I thought that was very beautiful. So I hope you got what I was saying. And another thing that I think about when it comes to me being sick is that during the last 10 days of Ramadan, I was so sick, and I literally could not pray like on the ground or on a prayer mat. I had to pray in a chair. And the way that I prayed, and I like put in my mind that I am still going to attend Qiyam. It was my first Qiyam because I didn't go to the last one last Ramadan. I think because I wasn't fully aware of the importance. I don't know what happened, but I just didn't go. And I went this year. And the fact that I stayed the whole time, even when I wasn't feeling extremely well, like, subhanallah, Allahu Akbar, because thank you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving me the strength that day to do that, because it was the most beautiful experience. So that's all I want to say about that. I just hope, I'm gonna say again, I hope that you don't think that this is something extremely terminal or like something like that. It is just something that is just annoying for me, and I had to deal with multiple times in the last year. But yeah, that's all I want to say on that. I do have exciting news, and exciting news is that I wrote a book, and my book will be coming out early this year, inshallah. Put barakah on it. My book is about my journey to Islam. My book is called The Call, A Grenadian American's Journey to Islam. And if you want more information about when that's coming out, you can follow me on Instagram at Brittany Khadija. Also, subscribe to my newsletter at my newsletters on my website called Brittany Khadija, and make sure you sign up for the newsletter, and it's at the bottom, because those who are signed up for the newsletter get a little special treat when it comes to the release of my book, and those who sign up now get an even special treat before like more information is coming. So I hate to leave you in suspense, but inshallah you will have more details about that soon. So a little bit about the name, The Call, and like where that comes from. I'll give you all on my podcast a little like preview, little sneak peek. My book is called The Call, A Grenadian American's Journey to Islam, because throughout the book I talk about how I was having a call towards Islam, but I didn't want to answer it. I'll let that sink in for y'all. And I can't wait for you to read the book and just see the little like signs and little pushes that I was getting towards Islam, that I was like, nah. It's just like so interesting to look back, like, Allahu Alam, like Allah knows best. And it's like when I look back, it's like, it's so funny that like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was really calling me towards him. But I was so much like in my own like, oh, da da da, I don't need da da da. I don't want to give away the book, that I wasn't even paying attention. But I can't wait for y'all to read it and have it in your hands. So make sure you follow me on Instagram at Brittany Khadija. Also follow me on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok at Brittany Khadija, and subscribe to my newsletter, which is on BrittanyKhadija.com. So August 24th, 2024 made 2 years since I became Muslim. Like, I cannot believe it. To think of that, I did my Shahada like 2 years ago, and it's been like 2 years and 6 months, and my third Shahada anniversary is coming up. It's so crazy to think about. So I decided to look back at like my year one that was leading up to year two. When I look back at the time, of course, I was dealing with a lot of trials with being sick on and off, and like testing, and plus there was other stuff going on in my personal life that was just like taking a toll on me, and it was all happening around the same time. So it's a lot for me to deal with, and I still put my faith and my trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and still turn to him. And during this time of this chaos, it made me realize something so beautiful, that even like during leading up to year one of my Shahada, the mosque was such a place that I found peace, my solace, and stuff like that. But I had this very interesting revelation when it came to the mosque, and on July 26th on Instagram, I wrote, On Wednesday, I walked into the mosque to attend Arabic class. The act of walking into mosque every Wednesday has been a part of my routine for almost a year. As I walked into the classroom, I was reminded that I was a month away from my Shahada anniversary. A random thought came to my head. This masjid is really like a second home to me. I made a community here in less than 2 years. I feel like myself here. I know people here. I make connections here. I feel close to Allah here. I cried out of thankfulness and sadness here. A lot of my favorite Islamic memories are here. I feel at peace here. I enjoy sitting in solitude here. I shared my Shahada story here, and I did my Shahada here. I felt like crying as the thoughts came to my head. I quickly bottled up those emotions as I got ready to enter the classroom. As I made my way to the Musalla for Maghrib, I ran into two sisters and I hugged them and spoke to them. They have shown me so much love since I came into this community. The thoughts that I had earlier came back to my head. I listened to the Quran's recitation during prayer. It reminded me of the first time I heard the Quran, and it made me cry. I thought about all the future moments I may have at this mosque, from my nikah, picking up my future children from Islamic classes, attending classes here, preparing for my first Umrah trip, and maybe even having my janazah here. All these thoughts filled me with joy and happiness. I'm so thankful to have a mosque to call my home. I'm so thankful to be a part of a community that loves and accepts me. I don't take any of this for granted. SubhanAllah for allowing me to feel this way. And that is how I feel when I'm at the mosque. The mosque has been such like a second home to me in a way. When I'm away from the mosque for too long, I feel like a part of me is missing, and that came through a lot more during like year 1 of my Islam journey. So I still feel that way, and I can only imagine what the rest of this year 2 and inshallah year 3 will bring. So in the leading up to year 2 and now, like, my love for Islam continues to grow. Every time I learn something more, when I learn something more about like different ideologies when it comes to Islam, learning about different facts about the Quran, learning about different things that the Sahaba and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ like went through, it makes me fall in love with Islam even more. So I still have that, and that's like it gives me like the push to want to know more, want to read more, want to learn as much as I can. So alhamdulillah for that. And like I said, when finding the like having the mosque has led me to have such valuable and meaningful connections. A lot of the sisters that I know who are Muslim, I met in the masjid, and some of them have become a part of my family. I look forward to seeing them. I love getting hugs from them and catching up with them. It's such a beautiful thing. And I think that really part of year 1 and now in year 2 of my journey, I am honing in a more solid relationship, subhanAllah. It made me realize how grateful and thankful I am to have that, because not everybody does. And it just made me extremely grateful and extremely humbled that what did I do in my lifetime to deserve that. So I'm just extremely thankful for that. And with that being said, I guess you can kind of get the gist is that I'm starting to feel like an official member of the community. I know I am a member of the community, but I'm starting to feel like, wow, I'm really starting to get my footing in this community, and I feel a part of it, which I'm so thankful for. Like before, I kind of like felt a little bit out of place, but now because you're new and you don't know anything, but now subhanAllah, I feel like I'm a part of it. So a thing that I did before my Shahada anniversary is that exactly 2 years ago, around that same time, in August 2024, in August 2022, I went to Canada, and this was, I already was thinking about doing my Shahada and stuff like that, and I visited the Aga Khan Museum, and in that museum, they have Quran manuscripts, and I remember as a non-Muslim, me looking at them and getting teary-eyed and stuff like that. I went back. And it was so interesting going back as a Muslim and seeing those Quran manuscripts and being able to like struggle read what the manuscripts are saying. It was so beautiful, and I, inshallah, want to make it a tradition to go every 2 years back to the Aga Khan Museum and remind myself about where I was 2 years ago when I went to the museum for the first time as a non-Muslim to where I am now as a Muslim. So it was really cool to go back there, look at the Quran manuscripts, look at the little Islamic history, and seeing like different art and like architectural pieces from that time, like fountains and cups and all that stuff. It was really beautiful to go back. So I really enjoyed my time there. And quite frankly, it was also interesting before my Shahada anniversary. I think it was before. I went to Manhattan and I went to the American Museum of Natural History, and they have Quran manuscripts throughout their exhibits there. So it was so cool to see that, which I wasn't expecting, but it was so cool to see like Islam in different parts of the world, in the Pacific, and then in the Middle East and Africa, and seeing the little architectural pieces that go along with that. It was so beautiful. I think if you all live close to New York City, y'all should go there. So, and also if you live in the Canada area or close to Canada, go to Toronto and go visit the Aga Khan Museum if you can. Another thing that has stayed the same in now and from my first year as a Muslim to like my second year is being in Arabic class. To think that I can fully read a sentence of the Quran and actually pronounce some of the words, I would say like 60% okay, is so amazing to me, because I remember struggling between ta and tha. Now homegirl can read and connect words. I can even start to read and pronounce words without any accents. Like when you see like the regular Arabic writing, which is different from Quranic writing, like when they have it on the TV, I can make it out and I can pronounce it at least like 50% well. Subhanallah. That is all to the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because I didn't think I would be this far in here. I do need to get better, but I'm not meant to be 100% perfect, because nobody is. But it's so beautiful to see where it came from the beginning of like having flashcards of the letters to now being able to read them semi well is such a blessing. So inshallah I will get better, and I'm currently learning the rules of tajweed, so inshallah I will get better with that, and I still need lots and lots of practice. Also, what I decided to do for my second year Shahada anniversary was to have a mini celebration. I was kind of scared to have one for some reason, and I'm gonna share with y'all, but y'all keep this between us, okay? This is me getting a little personal. I have a fear that like I'm gonna have an event and nobody's gonna show up. Like people are just gonna cancel last minute. They'll be like, "Oh, sorry, we really thought we can go." Like they confirm, and then the day of they'll be like, "Sorry, we can't make it. Sorry, we can't make it." I have that fear. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just a toxic trait that I have. I don't know why I feel that way. But that's how I was feeling. I was like, "Oh, are people really gonna come to my Shahada anniversary? What if nobody wants to come? What if nobody likes me? Blah 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 blah." Going through all these type of things. And then I was telling myself, who said that these people didn't like you? Did these people tell you that they didn't like you? And granted, they all showed up. And I was a little sad because of me going through my emotions and like figuring out if I want to do something or not. I didn't get to invite my friends. Well, I invited them, but they were so last minute that they didn't get to come up because they all live 3 hours away from me. So it was kind of last minute. So I felt so bad for them, so they couldn't come. But inshallah, if I do something for my 3rd year Shahada anniversary, I'll invite them. But I had a little brunch gathering, and it was so nice. It was so nice to give people their flowers and to like let them know how much I appreciate them and how much they mean to me, like those who were there before I became Muslim, while I was learning about Islam like more in depth, and those who were there after my Shahada anniversary and who are here now. Like I wanted to give everybody their flowers. So I'm so happy that I got to do that and to celebrate me and to celebrate this like amazing moment in my life of becoming a Muslim and doing my Shahada. So right now I am looking forward to my 3rd Ramadan. I cannot believe this will be my 3rd Ramadan, and I would say the first 2 Ramadans definitely prepared me, and I think I have a better grasp of what I should expect from Ramadan. And I realized I don't need no crazy routine. I don't need to do this, this, and this. I just need the Quran and watching Omar Solomon's series, because his series are so good. I enjoyed it during my first Ramadan and my second one. So I feel like I just need the Quran, Islamic lectures, Taraweeh, and good people around me. That's all I want, inshallah. So I'm looking forward to my third Ramadan. I'm super excited. I am mentally preparing myself now. If you're listening to this and you are someone who missed some of your fasts during Ramadan, make them up now. I made up mine. What is your excuse? Make them up. Don't wait last minute. Don't be scrambling 4 days before Ramadan and then you realize you have 6 fasts to make up. Don't be like that. Make them up now. Okay? All right. And I'm excited to growing more in faith, reading more. I have so much Islamic books and that I really want to read this year, because I've been slowly reading them, but I really want to read them and absorb the information and still watch Islamic lectures and still learn more. That's what I really look for. I really want to like grow more when it comes to Islamic knowledge. So inshallah, I'm able to do that before year 3 of my Shahada. And overall, the lessons that I've learned in year 1 and halfway through year 2 of being a Muslim is that your life will play out how you view it. There is a saying, and then forgive me if I say it wrong, and I'm not an Islamic scholar, but they said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows up for you the way that you view him. If you view him as somebody who's merciful, he will show up to you as merciful. If you view him as someone who's like not good and not helpful for you, he will show up like that. And I believe that saying, if it's not, forgive me. Everything that is good that you get out from this episode comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and everything that is bad comes out from me. So if you view your life as miserable, as something that is like, you're never going to get this, you're never going to get that, like, oh, woe is me, that's how your life will play out, because you will not find the beauty in anything. There will be something so beautiful in front of you, and then you will just find the negative part of it, right? But even if there's a storm, a rainstorm, and it's raining and it's pouring, when is the best time to make du'as? When it's raining. So why are you going to look at it as, oh, it's raining and I can't do this, this, and that, I couldn't go outside, I couldn't have a picnic? Or you're going to be like, you know what? There's something I really wanted to make dua about. There's a person I really want to make duas for. This is the best time. And sickness does not belong to you. It belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And only he can cure it from you when he is ready to cure it from you. And it's up to you to view it in a way that it comes from him, in a way that you turn to him, in a way that it will go back to him. Patience should be practiced every day. If you don't have sabr, how do you expect people to have sabr for you? I'll let that sink in. You're welcome. And distance yourself from people who bring you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It could be colleagues, friends, family, right? Some of these people, we can't control how they're in our life, right? But we can control our conversations around them and how much interaction we want to have with them, right? Doesn't mean we have to be disrespectful to them, but you can be like, oh, how are you? Alhamdulillah. How are you? How's everything going? Alhamdulillah, 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 blah, blah, blah. And you go about your day. You were pleasant to them. They were pleasant to you in that moment. Even if they weren't, you were pleasant to them. You are going to get the good deed in that moment because you didn't stoop down to their level. Anyone who you feel is bringing you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, distance yourself from them. You don't need to be around them. Because if they start to view Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a way that you're not comfortable with, you may start to view Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that same way. If they're doing actions that you're not comfortable with, you being around them can either force you to be in a situation that you're not comfortable with, a situation that can bring you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you're around them and their actions and the way they're being making you have these interesting thoughts that takes you away from being a good Muslim, like in your mind, you're telling them off, do you really need to be around that person? Granted, we can't help our interactions with those people, right? But when we feel ourselves getting in a way or getting away from something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would view as pleasant in a situation that that person could be completely wrong, have sabr and remember who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. And if you, God forbid, are doing the same thing to a person, how would you want to be treated, even though you are in the wrong? And lastly, don't forget to start your day with Bismillah, and before you close your eyes, say Alhamdulillah. Now that's all I have for this podcast episode. I felt like it was a bit all over the place, but I haven't been here in a couple of months. So I hope you enjoyed the podcast and a little bit of what's been going on. I have no idea what I'm going to title this episode. I think I just may call it Updates and Reflections. I think that is the best title for this and based on what I talked about today. So inshallah, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'll be back soon and give you more podcast episodes, inshallah. So I hope you guys enjoyed my podcast episode, and I hope y'all missed me because I missed you all. And it is me, your favorite revert, Brittany Khadija. Assalamualaikum, Warahmatullahi, Wabarakatuh.